So we start here, right? We've got the El Jefe. I am incredibly susceptible to left to right scapes. Probably something to do with either left eye dominance or right-handedness or something. I don't know. So very susceptible to either doing this or doing this. So when I found this El Jefe stone, I was like, oh, I'm all in. And then somebody stole my rock, so it didn't work out. But there was this basically carbon copy in whatever the stone this is. Originally, I had a different secondary stone that was larger than this, like taller. I mean, not like that, but kind of like this-ish. And I wanted this to take up that secondary space and to have a path down the middle, but it ended up being a bit too large to really fit. So I found this other one, and it has a good face to it. I hate holes in things, but this doesn't bother me that much, so it worked out. It's okay. And the thing that it also gave me was all of this shadow down here. So down there, the shadow, you can't see it, but like I guess here you can see the shadow. Down in here, there's a lot of shadow. So it gave me a lot of good contrast, and we can go all the way to the finished product. You can see there's a lot of like good dark area in the scape with the light on. The other thing was the angle that you end up with is a lot more conducive to what I think I'm gonna go with, like 1/3, 2/3, kind of like oh dang, it's just rule of thirds, isn't it? This part of the tank is planted and this part is the beachfront, because you're not supposed to see aqua soil when you do an aquascape. The point of the aqua soil is to grow the plants, and the point of the cosmetics is to look at. So the sand and the gravel goes up front. You'll never see me have a scape in the tank or in the store with aqua soil up front, because I can't stand it. And then you've got all the aqua soil in the back to house the plants, right? So you've got a planted section and maybe 1/3 of the tank. In this case, it ended up being a lot closer to 50-50 than I intended, but a good portion of the tank in the front, that's just all cosmetic. So this stone supported that idea a lot stronger than the original one that I found. The life lessons from this one, if you got the idea in your head, stick with it, try a bunch of different things, try and see if you can figure it out without fundamentally changing the design. And if you literally just mechanically can't get it, like I almost gave up, because even after gluing these two rocks together, that was weird. Anyway, even after gluing these two rocks together, it still didn't quite line up where I wanted, and that's why I had these substrate supports as spacers, because I was literally like moving it 1/2 centimeter, 1/4 of a centimeter over and over again, trying to find the right position where it wasn't going to be a pain to escape, but also still looked the way I wanted it to. But you'll see like areas right here, and what we'll see in the future is this area underneath this stone and this area back here are all horribly unsealed, so they're very easy for the soil to get through. So I spent several hours trying to come up with solutions to this that I was happy with. And one thing that you can't see, I don't think, in any of these pictures, I really wish I had taken more pictures, is underneath this main stone is basically like this shape, and underneath it is a pile of lava rock, like red lava rock in a bag. And it was driving me crazy because I couldn't figure out how to properly seal everything while also having enough substrate in the front to cover all that, the supporting bag. Luckily, I was able to find another one of these stones that was like mostly flat and could elevate the main stone to where I wanted it to be. But yeah, you can see here, this dark area is basically completely like above, like a solid maybe centimeter above the bottom of the glass. And this rock is kind of like this-ish. So there was a lot of space, and back here and down here for substrate to potentially come forward. And I was just like racking my brain, just trying to figure out how to stop it from coming from underneath, because I didn't have a lot of stones like this type of stone to actually properly seal it up in the a more traditional approach. So I knew I was going to have to use filter floss and some other stuff. The way I ended up dealing with this is, lucky me, Gus, my Lord and Savior Gus, was in the store, and he brought up the idea of using these plastic sheets that we use in the plant tanks as dividers, as substrate supports, which is a thing that I forgot was the thing. I used to be obsessed with the idea of substrate supports back when Green Aqua was making videos. Not Green Aqua, sorry. The Green Machine. And they used to sell these guys, but I always wanted them, but I couldn't get them because I didn't want to pay for shipping from the UK. So what I ended up doing first is using them as spacers. This area and this area, I wanted to make sure there was enough space between the stone and the glass so that we could actually get like a piece of something to clean the glass. So I was using these as the spacers because they were about the width of our little cleaning sponge and my finger. So that worked out pretty well. But the other use I had for them was the traditional, not so traditional, but pre-modern or something, substrate support. So in this corner right here, like right behind this rock, there's one of these, and that's blocking a big portion of the soil. And what I did to hide the front side of it, dang, I really wish I took more pictures. What I did, I filled the soil up all the way, and this is like a solid 3-4 inches of soil backed up against this, and right underneath all this rock is a little bit of filter floss to fill the gap, and then I just piled on the little pebbles to fill up the space and to hide the support. And I think I'm gonna add some Anubias or something back here just to hide it a little even more. Oh yeah, and I did similar stuff. So there's a substrate support right here that's buried a little bit, and then obviously there is, or not so obviously, hopefully there is a bunch of filter floss underneath this rock, preventing the soil from coming this way. So there's a substrate support here, there's a support here. The soil, there's like a little bit of filter floss at the end here, and then it's just stacked up pebbles to prevent the soil from coming all the way through. And then there's more filter floss here, this is here, like all the way around here, back here, and then these are two rocks that are glued together here. There's probably some filter floss like errantly. I was just kind of packing it blindly because I couldn't see under the rocks. Yeah, and then you fill it up and nothing comes forward, and it looks like it's just kind of magically staying put, which is really cool. Hopefully next time I do something like this, I will take more pictures or a video so it's a bit more clear. If you got the idea, stick with it. Ask around. If you've got anyone around you, even if they don't know anything about, scapes or tanks or whatever, the most random input is honestly the most helpful. It gets you out of your little rut. If there's one thing I could change, I don't like this rock pile, but it kind of has to be there for the scape to function or the soil not to come all the way down. Savannah is good. This is Crypt Sri Lanka, so it usually does really well in my sales tanks. No idea how well it'll do in here, but we'll see. This is guppy grass. I do kind of like the way it looks when it's planted, and since guppy breeders use it for everything, I figured it should be fine in higher KH, higher pH tanks. And this is... what the heck is this? This is Helanthium tenellum, which I pulled out of somewhere. I have no idea where it came from, but it's a Helanthium, so it gets to go in the tank. That's the rule. Yeah. Aquascape. I hope no one buys this because I really want to grow it out. That's my one problem I have. I make a scape I really, really like. I think I've had maybe 3 scapes I've made in the store that are honestly my best work and I'm really proud of. And then I'm like gone for a weekend and then and then someone buys it, so I don't really get to experience it that much. But at least I got, some okay-ish photos. Yeah. Bye.